Hi, this is Christina with Christina West Art, and today's podcast is an obscure topic. We're going to be talking about unmanifest things. Yes, you heard that right, unmanifest things. So to work our way into this topic, which is somewhat esoteric, shamanic, and spiritual, we want to think about what manifest things are, right? So manifest things are we plan a job, we think about the job, we think about all the steps that have to happen within the job. We do the job, we have some problems here or there we have to figure out. We complete the job's a success, and it's been manifested. We do that all day long. We manifest getting dressed, brushing our teeth, getting to work, taking care of the kids, paying the mortgage, whatever the deal, we're manifesting. And another word for that is will. You have to have the will to actually get up out of bed. You have to have the will to make your bed. You have to have the will to get dressed and brush your teeth and figure out what your wardrobe is going to be. You have to have the will to do that job and continue doing that job and finishing that job and then going on to the next job. So almost like a garden, we have to till the soil, we have to clear the land, we have to plant the seeds, we've got to watch it grow, we have to make sure those tender new shoots are okay, fertilize the soil, harvest. So we have these rhythms within our earth, within our culture, within our daily lives, and also in how we manifest. And pretty much in America especially, we are devoted to manifestation. And that is really a practice of ongoing will, like the ever-ready battery. And that, of course, will wear down. It wears down the body, it wears down the mind, it wears down the emotions, it wears down the poor old heart. And typically, we need to rest then. And then we refill the well. So Rudolf Steiner brought forward the threefold human being: the thinking man or woman, the feeling man or woman, and the willing man or woman. Thinking, feeling, and willing. And that really breaks down our core modalities during the day. Everything we think is layered one into the other. There's will in our thinking. There's feeling in our will. You know, you can interchange those like the knee bone's connected to the thigh bone. But one of the things about manifestation and creating is its opposite, which is the unmanifest. And this isn't a topic I've heard anybody talk about. The closest I've gotten is Meister Eckhart in his 4 Ways of Seeing, which David Applebaum did a beautiful article on. And it is about emptiness. And it's deeply esoteric. And it's practically sacred geometry or higher math. It's so deep about God manifesting continually. And, you know, we actually do see this in our science as well, that the manifest reality is going on continually. And all the traditions and folk tales and religions and different ideologies have many stories, myths, and legends about, you know, the sun comes up every day, and what swallows the sun would be a catastrophe for the earth. So one of the things that has been a puzzle for me in my study and research is, which is found in the Bible, the wrath of God. The wrath of God. You know, it's a creepy thing, this sort of typically a white male with a long beard, big shoulders, you know, with a pointing finger. And I wasn't raised within any kind of tradition. I was raised in the Western mystery tradition, so I missed the Catholic Church. I missed everything else too. And that left me free and naive. So I've had to come back to this later in life and try to struggle with these concepts. And there's a number of threads that run through this podcast. Much of it is shamanic. There's two things that I read, one by Rudolf Steiner, one by an internationally recognized shaman. And Rudolf Steiner was saying he was a clairvoyant seer who brought the Waldorf schools and biodynamic gardening. He talked about the bee crisis 80 years before it happened, and is considered an initiate among many. And Rudolf Steiner said that if humanity as a whole doesn't accept that there's spirit behind everything in matter, there's a spirit of the oak tree in this oak table that I'm sitting on. There's a spirit, within everything, within the plants outside, so forth. Now, a very strong materialist who only believes what he sees, or she believes what she sees, is going to negate this out of the court. It's just not going to happen. But one of the things that shamans have seen is that they see the dead. Shamans typically can see the dead. They dream of the dead. They still work with their dead. It's what we call ancestor worship in some, and the ancestors. And that's actually Halloween is based on, the Day of the Dead and honoring our ancestors. So the ancestors haven't gone anywhere. They're around us all the time. And hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people have had personal experiences of this. So I don't need to go into the data of that. But what I want to talk about is this idea of the wrath of God. And I was reading a Christian community priest, Emil Bach, and I was reading one of his books, and he started talking about Revelations and the wrath of God. And, my ears grew like big. What was he going to say? And he said something so shamanic. It just rocked my world. It was a watershed moment for me. He said that the goddess, whatever you want to call it, is pouring down bliss, pouring down spiritual wisdom, pouring down grace on us human beings. And this is cross-cultural. This isn't, this is pure grace, pure spiritual wisdom. This isn't like a religion or somebody's got it and somebody else doesn't. This is just happening all the time. And pretty much, I would say all indigenous people knew this. Native Americans, Chinese, Japanese, somebody in wherever, some corner in the world that nobody knew. They all knew this mother, father, life, pagan, Christian, whatever gods are filled with wisdom. I mean, that's why Michael Harner, the great, he has crossed the threshold now, but he was a great internationally recognized shaman and a PhD Michael Harner had a PhD in anthropology, and they say he, crossed the line and went native, is what they said. But what he found out with his practices and his studies with indigenous shamans all over the world were these same practices were found all over the world, which he called core shamanism. So again, we come back to now the scientific worldview in 2021, where they can't figure out why atoms are dancing in and out of manifestation, right? So we're talking about in manifestation and out of manifestation. And they can't wrap their heads around that, nor do they know what it means. But they can see it's happening with their vast technical abilities. So Emil Bach, this priest, said that if the human being or humanity as a whole does not open to the understanding that there is a spiritual world that is actually what we call the material world, that they're integrated, interfaced, embedded within one another. And just because our eyes can't see it, many people's eyes can't see it, those who are more developed or more shamanic or more naive and unstudied can feel it, can know it, can dream it, can heal people with it because they'll dream a remedy. So Michael Harner would say shamanism is never lost. So I'm just trying to build a broader picture of manifest and unmanifest. So if we stop the spiritual wisdom from coming to us, we don't believe it, it's not part of our reality, what it does is it sort of turns back on itself and on ourselves as human beings, part of the cosmic order of things, and it creates neuroses or illness. That's what Rudolf Steiner, Dr. Steiner said. And he said within 150 years, and it's been just that since he's crossed the threshold in 1925, that we see neuroses of all kinds. It's just, in fact, our entire society is based on pathologies and diagnosing people's pathologies, not their wellness, their illness. So this idea I've been, living with for, 20, 25 years. And this last few months, especially maybe perhaps this year with COVID, I've been thinking of what do we choose to live by in our lives? What's our core belief? What are our core values? Do we have core values? Do we have a set of principles? Are we a moral person that we know there's good and bad and what's right or wrong? Do we have a felt sense in our heart? This is good for me. This isn't good for me. Do we choose a healthier life or do we choose an unhealthy life? So I used to give an exercise to my students. If there's something you want in your life, say you want to move somewhere and there's a certain house, you close your eyes and you just get quiet and you say out loud, I'm going to move to the what's it house, whatever that is. And you feel between your tummy and your throat chakra, your throat, a feeling, what that feeling is. And this is called a felt sense. I don't know who came up with it, but it wasn't me. But I love it because it works for me. Felt sense. And typically you feel like a excitement, like a sort of burgeoning, like a growing, like life force, like maybe excitement. Or you feel the opposite. You feel a contraction, a coldness, a shrinking, even perhaps fear. So that's a felt sense. And of course, you have to do your own inner work to make sure you're not flipping yourself out because you really don't want to move and you're scared anyway. I mean, you have to parse those things. But at any rate, we're talking about yes and no. Yes, there's life in that decision, and no, there's death in that decision. And I used to say we're saying yes to life or we're saying no to life. Yes, meaning yes, I want to live. Yes, I want to be here. Yes, I want to give my gifts. Yes, let's try it. Yes, let's join it. Let's try it out. And the no is, no, I don't want to be part of it. No, you're not part of my tribe. No, you're not part of my tribe either. No, I'm special. No, no, no. We all know the no people. It's it's a no. It's just a no. And you're not going to get anywhere. So you could say that the yes people, you could parse it this way, the yes people are manifestors in a certain way, energetically, and the no people are unmanifestors. They're not taking a step toward friendship. They're not taking a step toward their authentic power. They're not taking a step towards wholeness. They're not taking a step toward integration. They're not, the no, no, no. But the yes people are trying it. May not work, but they're trying it. Give it the old college try, we used to say. So what I've been thinking about, now that you have sort of a picture, I built a picture here of manifest and unmanifest, let's talk a little bit about Meister Eckhart. Meister Eckhart says that it's so deep. For me, I have to really track what he says. And I studied him for about, 3 or 4 years because it was so dense, trying to understand, was he 13th or 16th century? Maybe 13th. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. So the creator being, the Manitou, which the Native Americans would say the Manitou beings, which were the creator spirits, the great creators. In alchemy, we might call it the eons, A-E-O-N-S, the great aeons, these huge time spirits, these beings way beyond humanity that create us and created the planets and created the DNA and created the mitochondria and created the spiral nebulas. So holding the thought about the wrath of God, right? Because it's really the grace of God coming down. Wisdom, I don't know how you would translate it. Homeopathy, learning about herbs. We're all, connected. Let's get together, But if we start refusing life, so it's a yes to life or a no to life, what are the consequences? The consequences of saying, no, I'm not going to. Oh, no, or no, I'm not going to let you. Because there's a lot of no, I am not going to let you. I'm not going to let you participate. I'm not going to let you get closer. I'm not going to let you be part of the group. I'm not going to let you in. I'm not going to freely welcome you. I'm not going to show other people, the whole no thing. You're not part of my tribe. So there was this marvelous quote by an artist that said he hardly wants to talk about his art because he feels he has secret orders from a higher power of what he's doing in his artistic practice. And that I drunk like water, like life-giving water, because I feel that. Many artists feel that. And I don't mean just painters, I mean writers or musicians or dancers or thinkers or scientists or inventors. They feel like there's a track they're following that's a storyline written for them by the hand of God or by the hand of the Creator or by the Holy Grail or whatever their definition of it is. So if grace is rejected by me, then there's an opportunity for it to sort of turn back on itself. Now, I was raised here in Southern California, and where I was born and raised for the first 12 years, we were 3 houses from the beach. So I just grew up on the beach, and I had to learn about surfers and surfboards when I was 3, 4, and 5. And how, to be really aware of them in those waves, because the waves were far bigger than I was. The surfboard was 3 times my height. And sometimes you wouldn't know it if you, the undertow of the wave would take you down, and you didn't know where up or down was. Do you remember that feeling? And you're trying not to open your mouth, and you hit your head on a surfboard. And the surfboard is quite much bigger than you are, so you don't really know if there's been a lid put on you by the universe, right? It's this little scary time for a youngster. So the wave in manifestation crashes forward, and then it goes back, and it creates that drag, right? In seas that are very powerful, that undertow, they won't even let you on the beach because the undertow is so strong. You cannot, if it takes you out too far, you actually cannot come back with your own strength. So there's this quality then of manifestation and the unmanifesting energy coming back. There's this idea then of the God pouring forth, the creator being pouring forth reality in all its manifold aspects. And what are the consequences of us refusing that and saying God's not real, blah, blah, blah. So this is a very shamanic, and the Western mystery traditions, these are topics that are considered. And what I want to talk about is this idea that this artist I read about a month ago, my dream teacher from Berkeley, Fariba Bagzaran, did a fabulous podcast, and she posted this. This idea that the artist has secret orders. So this got me to thinking, what if we don't manifest our secret orders? What if we don't manifest the good that we're supposed to bring to the earth? What if we don't manifest our karma in a healthy way? What if we get caught up in sort of low quality ego stuff and we can't manifest our destiny? And I think if we sort of had a karmic eye, of course, that's a slippery slope to go down. But I think if we could see, Michael Harner, his favorite topic was miracles. And he never had a chance to complete the research and the book or books, because that was his favorite focus. And he never really spoke about it much, except rarely. And miracles are an anomaly, right? All odds, a healing happens or a miracle happens. So we do live in this universe with a lot of unexplained phenomena. But I was considering, what if someone's destiny is to do something for a community? And that community could be a partnership. That community could be a school. That community could be anything, any kind of group. And that person is stopped from bringing their gifts forward. So my question to myself is there fallout from that? Is that backwards pull, that undertow current? Is there consequences for people, for the point people in unmanifest things. What are the consequences of the unmanifest good deeds that I didn't do? And who takes the hit for that? Because I do think people around in the control group, we could say, that perhaps there's a spiritual calling, a secret order, right? That a group or a community or a artists, and they're supposed to do something. And what if by the ill will of somebody else, they're blocked from doing it? I've got a sneaking suspicion there's going to be people who have to take the karma of the not doing. They have to take the karma of the unmanifest things. They have to take the consequences, and another word is karma, of the not done goodness. I'm assuming that most people want to do goodness and that they want to do good and be good and honorable and, generous and all those kind of things. So I don't have an answer for you. I just have a question. What are the consequences if you look at your life and there's going to be points of contention somewhere, and it either resolved or didn't resolve, and many times things fall apart? Who took the hit for that? And what happened? And I say this in sort of a general way, karmically. What was the outcome? So you could consider it like a 3-act play. The setup, the first act, there's usually the problem, the challenge for the hero or heroine, and then there's the crisis, and then there's the resolution. So just generally, it's an idea that I'm pondering. So this podcast is about the problem or the issue of unmanifest things. And you can check out Meister Eckhart and his talks on emptiness. Emptiness is also found in the Buddhist tradition. It's also found in the Western mystery traditions, the deep esoteric traditions, the Rosicrucian traditions, and it's called the abyss, A-B-Y-S-S, the abyss, which is where we could say the dead live, outside of time and space. And that's what I'm living with this week. I don't think I want to call it the problem. It's more of a creative. When you have to do something creatively and you've got the glue or the drill and the diamond bits, and you got to know what works and what doesn't. If you're doing a mosaic icon, which I did of Mike Kyle once, you've got to know what glues work with what metals or what surfaces. And it's sort of the same thing with unmanifest things. I think the attributes of unmanifest things are different for every individual. And if you listen to my podcast, Are We Refusing to Help Others Because It's Their Karma? It's the same idea that I'm working with. The consequences of ill will, the consequences of no will at all, which is just like no thing, unmanifested goodwill. I don't know what that would be. It's like a conundrum. The conundrum of unmanifest deeds is what I'm thinking about. And I'm totally willing to hear what you have to say about that. If you have any thoughts along those lines, send them on. You can find my email. I've got my YouTube going, finally figured it all out, got everything working and joined and integrated. So if you want to follow me on YouTube, it's ChristinaWestArt.com. You can also, there's plenty of free podcasts. I have original art and counseling if you want to work with me. It's an interesting time to be alive. So this is Christina West. I'm going to sign off. I haven't answered any questions. I actually am just sharing the thought and seeding that out there with you guys, and see what might come back from it. The consequences of unmanifest things. Thanks for listening. This is Christina signing off. Let's get creative.